right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you that Christianity is the only way to heaven. I've tried to discover it myself. I spent time away from the faith, back in the faith, exploring other faiths, doing research, and biblically, that's what I've come to believe. And we're going to talk about that today. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Brian. Thanks for taking your time to watch these videos. If you're returning, thanks for watching and returning. It shows that my videos are useful for you. So thank you so much for your time as well. And I hope that you learned something. So Jesus says that many people are going to try and get to heaven, but only a few will get in there. Why? Because Jesus says that those are the people, those few that get to heaven are the people who put their faith in Him. So this message is specifically today it's specifically for the Christian who you probably or maybe grew up in church and Christianity is the only thing that you know. Your family's Christian, everybody in your family's Christian. This is the only thing that you know. And during different times of your life, you might just wonder, okay, maybe other religions can also lead you to heaven. Maybe there isn't just one way. Maybe there's a few roads to heaven, as some people may say. Like I said, I've experienced it and I've gone to explore. You can explore as well, but this message is for you because biblically, Jesus says that there is only one way to heaven. And I hope that you can learn that through this video today. Our passage today is found in Luke chapter 13, verse 24. It says, strive to enter through the narrow door. Furthermore, Jesus says this, for many, I tell you, will seek to enter, but will not be able to. That's what Jesus says. He says that many will seek to enter heaven, but will not be able to. Why? Because it's a very small path. He calls it a narrow door, a small path that leads there. And for those that want to enter heaven, they need to strive to get in there. In the book of John, chapter 10, verse 9, Jesus says that He is the door. Jesus says that I am the door. So we know that the narrow door here is talking about Jesus. It's talking about following Jesus. But what does it mean to strive? Does that mean we need to work our way towards heaven? Does it mean we got to put in a lot of effort and get there on our own? There's actually a lot of debate. If you look this up, if you look it up on Google, what does it mean to strive to get into heaven? What does it mean to strive to enter the narrow door? You're going to see a lot of different opinions. But I've spent some time studying, and here's what I've found. What I've found here is that strive does not mean that we need to work our way into heaven. It doesn't mean that we need to put in a lot of effort on our own to get into heaven. Why? Why is that not what strive means? That's because after my studying, I realized this. The context and the theme in Luke 13 from verses 22 to 30, this whole section about enter the narrow gate. This whole context, it's about salvation. It's about salvation. It's about how to get to heaven. That's what Jesus is talking about. So if that's what we're talking about, we also need to look in verse 23. Our passage is from verse 24 where Jesus says to enter the narrow door. But previously in verse 23, the reason why Jesus says this is because somebody asks him, how many people are going to get into heaven? And then Jesus follows up with saying, narrow is the gate, enter the narrow door. So this entire passage is about salvation because the question started with salvation and then Jesus answered with a responding in a way that is talking about salvation. And is salvation by our own work? Do we strive for our own salvation? Are we working? Am I good enough to get myself into heaven? Are you good enough to get into heaven on your own? No, we're not. This is what Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9 says. It says, Paul says this, for by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. Very clear here in Ephesians chapter 2. Salvation is by grace, from the grace of God. It is a gift from God that we get for free by putting our faith in Jesus, not by working. It is not a result of works, which is what Paul says. So what does strive mean here then? Let's talk about that. We know that Jesus is the narrow door. What does it mean to strive? From my study, this is what I believe strive means. And it relates to you and it relates to me. Oh gosh, it's getting very bright here. It relates to both of us. Because we really do, actually, if you think about it, we do need to strive in order to follow Jesus. We need to stay faithful to Him. We actually need to work hard to follow only Jesus and nothing else. Why? Because there are so many other religions. There's a lot of other ideas. There's a lot of other spiritual paths that people take that they think will bring them into heaven. And actually, if you really think about it, some of it sounds pretty good. I know, at least for me, some of these other paths to get to heaven, they sound pretty good. They actually sound easier than being a Christian. If I could choose those, I would. They sound like it's like they promise more. And some of them may even feel like their values align with your personal values and the way you see the world. So that's why we need to put in our effort to believe only in Jesus as the only way to heaven. That takes work. That is hard. It's not easy to do. Okay? So when we see this verse about entering the narrow door, the most important thing for any of us to remember is that Jesus is the only way to heaven. He's the only way. And even if other religions, other spiritual ideas, or other things that come your way that sound good, make good promises, and sound nice, we really actually do need to fight against that and stay faithful to our Lord and what He has taught us about salvation. So, like I said, many people, they truly actually, like I've spoken to so many people that they genuinely believe that there are many roads that lead to heaven, that there's just different gods because they're different names, but they're all the same God, that everyone goes to the same, at the same destination. But what we need to remember is that the Christian path, this special path of entering the narrow door, following Jesus, this is the only way to heaven. This is the only way. And we actually have to work at following Jesus. And we have to put in some effort at not being led astray. So if you're the Christian who wonders from time to time whether your faith is the only path or whether there's other paths that lead to heaven, I really hope that this video has confirmed to you that narrow is the way, and that is the only way to get into heaven. But like I said, I personally have explored before. There was times in my life where I've deconstructed from my faith. There was times in my life where I was agnostic. There was times in my life where I was atheist. It wasn't a long period of time. There was a period of time where I was researching about Hinduism and Buddhism. And then I read all these things, and honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. So you can go and read those things and then make your own decisions as you're trying to seek truth. But for me, I've done my research. I've come to my own conclusions, and it's always led me back to Jesus somehow by the grace of God. And so lastly, just want to say, salvation is not something we can strive for. It is the free gift of God from His grace that we receive by faith. So thank you for watching this video. I really, really hope that this has been useful for you. And for those that are new, thank you. Consider subscribing. You can watch a few other videos first and decide if you think my videos are useful for you and valuable enough for you. But my goal is to present biblically accurate and sound sermons every week on a weekly basis that help us to not only be listeners of the word, but to be doers of the word. I have someone that holds me accountable. I have pastors that I talk to and I study with, so I'm not just doing this on my own. So I pray that this really is helpful for you. For those that are returning, thank you so much. If you want to support these videos more, among all the other noise on YouTube, what you can do as of right now is August 2021. You can drop a like on this video and it'll push this video to other people's recommendations. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, a fantastic evening if you're watching this after work. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Bye.